Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. How are you, Coach?
I'm great. How you doing?
Doing well. Looking at this conference and SMU, Cal, Stanford, the additions here, you've seen over the years the evolution of the conference. How would you describe it now? We look at accomplished greatness as the moniker for it as we head into the season. What can you say about ACC football and how it looks now with this new portfolio nationally?
Yeah, it's exciting times. I mean, obviously, footprint has changed, and super excited about the 3 new teams coming in. I think it creates a lot of new storylines, new opportunity. Obviously, getting a chance to go to the West Coast and out to Texas as well. So I think that's great for the league. So it should be a lot of fun. I mean, it's you don't the days of divisions and all that stuff are gone, and it's always been about winning this league. I think that's the main thing. And now, not only do you, if you win the league, or you have an opportunity to be in the playoff, but you got a great chance to get the bye. And so I think that's just makes it even more exciting because more teams, more competition. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Coach, to your left, third row, right in the middle.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you again. Tony Siracusa from Last Word on Sports. One of the things that's been apparent this week is the amount of transfer quarterbacks that are in this conference. Does it feel like a luxury to have Cade back and have that familiarity without having to bring in someone new and learn everything all over?
Well, I mean, it's a blessing, certainly when you've got your starting quarterback back, for sure. I mean, we've had great ones that have come in, that it was their first year in our system and have done well. But it's always great when you're not starting over, and you've got a guy that's grown, had some experience under his belt, and that's. I mean, Cade Klubnik's a great young man, a great talent. He's just blossoming right before our eyes, physically and mentally, and also as a leader. So we're excited about year 2 with him as our starter, and also with Garrett. This will be Cade's first time, to have the same coach, same system. So I think we all expect to see some great growth from that.
Stay on the left, Coach. Second row, young lady in the blue.
I'm Katrina Sacken for the Clemson Insider. Coach Swinney, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. An incredible performance by your freshman class this past season. Let's talk about this one. What makes this one so special?
Freshman class?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to find out. We think that we've signed another great group coming in here for sure. I think we've had 14 top 15 recruiting classes in a row. So we're very consistent with evaluating and recruiting, kind of our top prospects year in and year out. And we think we've signed another excellent class. But we'll hold judgment on that till they get out there and go do it. But certainly on paper, we've got some talented young men. The one part that I can speak to is most of these guys came in January. So I think we had 15 or 16 of them came in January. So that's gives you a little bit more insight into where they are, and it gives you a chance to accelerate their learning curve. I think we only had 2 guys come in June. We had 3 come in May, and the rest of those guys came in January. So for them to be able to go through the off season, go through spring practice, all the installation, and then a chance to get it again in the summer. Now they get it again in fall camp. You expect several of those guys to be able to help us. And so we've signed some really good players, in all areas. Offensive line, really good guys there. Tight end, signed another great young running back, a couple of great wideouts that we're excited about. Some great young talent in the secondary, linebacker, D-line, really every position, kicker. We signed a really good group that hopefully will help us, put it all together as a team.
Coach, right-hand side, third row.
How you doing, Coach Dabo?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. So my name is TJ Wilkerson from 90.9 The Light. My question to you is, you put a lot of emphasis on recruiting out of high school. What does it mean to you when you recruit a guy like Gideon Davidson out of Lynchburg, and you make their dreams come true in playing with a program like Clemson?
Well, I can't speak on a prospect who's not at Clemson, but in generic terms, I mean, I think anytime we can get a young man to come to Clemson, it's awesome because, they choose. That's the thing. Guys have to choose. And the type of kids that we recruit, they have lots of options. And so it never gets old when a young man chooses to come to Clemson, especially how we recruit. We're very transparent. And when a kid signs up and says, hey, I want to be a part of that, that's awesome. And that's why I get excited. I always just focus on, because you're always going to not get more guys than you get. That's just the nature of recruiting. And I get excited about who we do get. And then for the opportunity for them to change their life through access to education is special. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's all about. For these guys to continue to chase their dream, to play at a place like Clemson and at this level of football, and to continue to be developed as a player, but also to, be equipped as a man through the education process it's awesome to see that transformation, in a young man's life, and to have a front row seat of that, to watch them go from 17, 18 to 22, 23 years of age.
We'll stay on the right, Coach. Second row towards the end.
Hey, Coach. David Hood with TigerNet.com. There's a proposal out there to up the scholarship limit to over 100. Are you for that? And then how will that change, or will it change how you handle high school recruiting / transfer portal / being able to hand out scholarships to walk-ons? Will that change any of that, or how you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, all of that is TBD, if you will. The crazy thing is there's not many coaches that want 105 scholarships. We want to keep our walk-ons. It's hard to manage, that many guys. And when you have that many guys on scholarship, you think you got transfers now. You wait till that number gets there. It's going to be a lot. So it's going to change a lot of things. But I think it's a product of, the lawsuit that was settled. I don't think there was an intention to say, okay, you can have no more walk-ons. I think just the way it was settled was whatever your roster size is, that's your scholarship limit. So you couldn't limit scholarships. And so obviously that's where administrators get together and say, no, wait a minute, we can't have 130 guys on scholarship. So we're going to have to reduce the roster. But whatever they reduce it to, everybody's got to be on scholarship. So, that's how we've gotten to this situation. Now, that's great for baseball. That's great for soccer and some of the sports that, you take 11 scholarships and spread it out amongst 30-something guys. They all have to be on scholarship. But for football, the unintended consequence is it basically eliminates your walk-ons. And there's no coach that wants that. It's a really sad thing, to me. Great, we get more scholarships. That's awesome. But, our game is just different. I mean, if you look at, 100, and you think 105 guys, you ought to have plenty of guys. But, you have to dive a little deeper into that. If you look at the NFL, I mean, they'll have 53 and 16 or 18 on the practice squad. But whatever their roster is, it never changes. So, for example, if they have 8 active linemen, they never have less than that. They can go to any practice squad on 32 teams and take a guy on Monday and activate him to play. And then, oh, by the way, every Tuesday they can bring free agents through. But in college, you can't grab the guy out of the algebra class over here in the middle of the season, and bring him over here and plug him in. And so whatever you start with, it dwindles. And this is a game played by big people. You don't put the corner at nose guard for the week for the scout team. And it's a complicated game. You may have maybe that corner physically could go play running back, but he doesn't know what to do. It's not like they all sit in the same meetings and they learn the terminology. I mean, it's not that simple. It's a very complicated game. It's frustrating. You need to not be able to have the walk-ons. And then in our world, we don't get them at 7 and they leave at 4. And we have a very small window to practice. You have 17 hours with a 20-hour rule. You have 17 hours to meet, to work out, to practice, to get a team ready to play Monday through Friday. So when you go on the practice field, you have to be incredibly efficient with your time. And if you don't have scout teams, to be able to present the looks, it's really difficult. So I think it's going to really challenge. It's a challenge, for sure, and we'll figure it out. But how you have to practice to develop these kids at this level, because when they come to college, the guys that we recruit, it's the first time they've had peers in their life. They've never, when you go to the NFL, these guys they're the best of the best. They've been playing football forever, and if you can't win on a slant route versus inside technique, they just bring somebody in there who can, because it's different and how they practice. We have to develop guys. You might be big and strong, but again, it's the first time that you have been matched up. So we have to teach a guy how to pull properly. It's just a different type of preparation in college, and now when you do away with the walk-ons and your guys that are just wanting to be a part of it and they want to serve, that 105 is going to dwindle. It's going to dwindle. And, I mean, we can't go we have no way to practice. There were teams last year that played bowl games that if this rule was in effect last year, they would have had to forfeit the bowl game because they wouldn't have had, enough players. Again, it's just, you don't just take a guy and go play left guard. It's just, it's frustrating because we're going to play more games than we've ever played, practice more than we've ever played, finish longer than we've ever played, and we're going to have the smallest roster we've ever had. So it's not, and again, it's not like they said, hey, no walk-ons. That's just what happened when it was settled that you can't limit scholarships anymore. And again, we could have we could keep our 120, which all coaches want, but everybody has to be on scholarship. Well, obviously that's a problem, so everybody's been trying to figure out how can we best make it work. And I think, sounds like, I don't know that, but it sounds like it's kind of heading to 105. So that means you have more scholarships. But I think most coaches, everybody will handle it. There's probably some walk-ons that you got to keep. And then now you got more scholarships. So there'll be some guys that, might take a few more developmental guys. You might take, maybe it's a transfer or two from different levels or whatever. I mean, I think it'll just be to be determined on how it's all handled. But I do think you'll see that transfer number go way up because, you only travel about 80. So that'd be a lot of football players not getting to play. So, again, the walk-on program is what disappoints me the most is, kids that just want to be a part of it, that want to come help you prepare and practice. It saddens me that's probably going to go away.